Financial Planner. Follow us on YouTube.
Here in the state of Texas, Kory, thanks for coming on the line with me today.
I appreciate you having me. I've looking forward to this interview. When my campaign manager contacted me, I said, let's do this one. I love it.
Well, I'm glad you said yes, and let's start off with this. America seems to be very polarized. That's a fact. The right turns a blind eye for the Republicans, and the left turns a blind eye for the Democrats. And I guess by way of introduction, what has been your biggest grievances with the left and the right, and what made you become a libertarian?
My biggest grievance, I guess, would be that they create a divide and keep people fighting left and right, and they have people manipulated to believe that they're different when actually they're the exact same thing. It's one snake with two heads. And I guess I've always been, at heart, somewhat of a rebel libertarian, if you will. And then I would say in about late 2011, I was doing some research on the war on drugs and stats and facts, and I ran across Ron Paul, who was running for president, and he kind of opened up my ideology a little bit more to understanding libertarianism, the non-aggression principle, and just if I'm not hurting or stealing anything from you, and then I should be able to do what I want, and you should be able to freely do what you want. That's what libertarianism is. It's just not impeding on somebody else's freedom.
It seems like it's such a revolutionary thing because it's so foreign compared to what we have. But when you think about it, most people individually live their lives on a everyday basis like libertarians. You don't go over to your neighbor's house and expect them to buy your groceries, or you don't go and tell them that they can't do this or that. Most people just kind of keep to themselves in many ways and are libertarians. I feel that. I feel that's true. I feel like that's something that connects with people on a very personal basis. But when it comes to government, all of these, I guess, natural moral laws go out the window. Why do you think that is?
I just think people are misguided, at heart, at natural, like you said, they probably are libertarian, but when they have so much influence, and it's a very powerful influence, the two old parties, if you will, the two main parties, the R's and the D's, they influence a lot of people. The news media influences a lot of people to believe that do this or else this will happen. The fear tactic that people continuously get fooled with, you better vote for this person or this person's going to win and stuff like that. I think people are just misguided and they keep buying into the same thing. But more and more over the past century or decade, for sure, people are waking up and understanding what is going on.
Mm-hmm. All right, Kory. Well, I want to talk about taxes, and I also do want to get into your stance on cannabis legalization. But let's start here with the state of Texas. Texas, for being such a conservative state, I'm shocked at how badly they've allowed real estate taxes to get out of control here. And of course, it's no one's doing. It's based on the yearly assessed property values. But rising property values are pricing people out of their own homes. I know people who are literally selling their house right now because their taxes have gone up so much. And I just want to ask you, is there anyone in the Texas government who is concerned about this? And I kind of want to dive into that a little bit because I feel like this transcends just a Texas audience. This is, how taxes discourages real growth. People are not incentivized to want their house to go up. They're not incentivized for new businesses to come into their area. They're not incentivized for their neighbor to invest in their property because that's of course going to make their house worth more. And it really goes to show how overburdening taxation really discourages fundamental productive activities. And I just want to get your thoughts on that and where we are with this.
Yeah, the property tax here in Texas is outrageous, and the way they do it, like you said, is they'll come over here and they'll assess our property value, and it just seems to keep going up remarkably every year in large numbers, the value of our property. But it's
which is good. It's good that property values have gone up.
Seeing how they, right, and they assessed value. They put it higher than it should.
All right, so sorry about that, guys. We had a little audio problem right there. But Kory, you were just saying how the Texas government assesses properties higher than they should, and please continue at that point there.
Yeah, they assess it obviously higher than they should, because when they do that, we have to pay more property taxes. There's a way that you can go down there and protest it to get it lowered. That's one way to help yourself out a little bit. The other way is to get involved and be an active person that is contacting legislators, going down to the committee meetings during session when the legislation is in session, and just contacting other people, getting them aware, and getting out in the streets. One of the biggest things I found out through the open carry movement was to get out in the streets and get out of the bubble. And on Facebook, you're in a bubble, and so many people can see you. But if you get out in the streets, you're out in the real world, and everybody can see you. So that's a good way to get out to people. But we are looking to end property taxes here as soon as possible here in Texas. There are some pretty good people who are in office, legislators who are helping with this. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are ignoring it, Democrats and Republicans both. There's a lot of Republicans that'll tell you they're against taxes, but that is a lie. Behind the curtain of tyranny, they are doing lots of things to work against exactly what they speak. So, my hope is to get into office and to peel back that curtain of tyranny and to expose the people who are working against people who are here in Texas who don't want to pay taxes. We need to get rid of property taxes immediately and start reducing all other taxes down to zero as soon as possible.
Wow, I mean, that's very idealistic, Kory. So I guess what are people saying that say this can't be done? Obviously, Texas has bills and things that need to get paid for.
Right.
What is the devil's advocate argument against what you're saying right now?
Yeah, well, the argument is, of course, well, how do we replace the money? Well, how do we replace the money? Well, you look at the budget and you cut spending. We have billions and billions of dollars wasted in areas where we could cut immediately, and we need to start looking in those areas first. And I don't like the argument to where we don't have enough money. If that means that they're not stealing enough money and they want more, and that's scary. So we need to look at the budget and start cutting there immediately. There's all kinds of departments that could be eliminated immediately that are wasteful spending that government waste all the time. So I would like to get inside and see what departments and wasteful spending we can cut and eliminate right away. And I think that would help us save money.
You bring up a good point. Just because there is a burden or a liability to be paid, that doesn't mean that it justifies stealing from the people, no matter what. It's never okay to kill somebody, no matter what justification you have.
Right.
It's never okay to cross that moral ground. And I guess that's what we're wondering. It's like, okay, well, how much should we steal from other people to pay our bills and for everything to continue to function?
Well, if we don't have taxation, all this stuff will continue to function, and I'll tell you why. Because if something is good enough and it's needed enough, the private sector, people, innovation will occur and it will happen. And the free market will allow things to happen faster and better than with government regulation and taxation. And so I'm a firm believer in letting the market control it rather than the government.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Kory, last thing on taxes here in regards to Texas. One of the things that really drew me to Texas, and I know a lot of other people, is the fact that there is no state income tax. But with property taxes going up the way they have, they've kind of negated that benefit for many people, especially people that are earning middle class salaries. They're paying more in property taxes than they might be paying in state income taxes in New York or California, as crazy as that is, depending on how much their house is and how high their taxes are. So is there any breaking point that you see going forward in terms of the Texas economy and growth that is going to get stifled here if something doesn't get done?
Yeah, absolutely. If they keep raising their property taxes, and not only that, we can say that there's a certain tax that we don't have, and we're better than other people, but there's all kinds of taxes that we have that others don't. And you can call it a license, you can call it a fee, you can call it a permit. It's all a tax. When you have to pay money to your government for something, that is a tax, and it is theft. And we need to start looking all everything that's being taxed and start eliminating it immediately. And it is a huge burden, and people are leaving. People are leaving Texas because of property taxes. People are leaving Texas because of cannabis and medical refugees, all kinds of stuff that Texas is doing wrong.
Yeah, Kory, let's get into that. That's the next topic. I've actually been covering cannabis now heavily the last couple of weeks here. Texas is one of the most conservative states here in the U.S. in regards to cannabis legalization. I believe we barely entered the medical marijuana arena, and it's slowly broadening. But give us the current state of where we're at right now in regards to cannabis legalization. And do you see any political will for any progressive laws in this area?
If more people would take the extra step to get involved and get down there and to speak out in committees and at the legislators and make a little bit of sacrifice, we could probably already have legalization here in Texas. But we need more people down there at the Capitol demanding what we want. I think here in the next two legislations, I think we'll see a huge jump. Obviously, a bunch of people here in Texas are far fed up with being ignored here on the cannabis issue. We had a couple bills last legislation that had a lot of support, medical and recreational decriminalization, and they all got killed, and nothing happened. And so we need to take a huge step forward and get with the program. We need to stop pretending like it's 30s, 40s, and 50s. Reefer madness scare was going on. That is old, and not many people are fooled by that crap anymore. Cannabis is actually a medical miracle. Has many different benefits for people. Not only can you smoke it, we can ingest it by eating it or putting it on your skin for oils and all kinds of things. It's not just used for smoking. Not only that, hemp, we could use hemp for all kinds of things. So the plan is amazing, and we need to stop pretending like it's some kind of evil devil thing when it's not. It's an amazing plant, and people everywhere should be growing it. I as governor, I want to start recommending and encouraging people to grow hemp and cannabis. So we're way past due here in Texas for freeing up cannabis and hemp.
So if you do become the governor, and I wish you the best of luck on that, what sort of political will do you suppose the governor of the state of Texas will have on broader federal laws and the direction of the overall country?
Well, I am, as governor of Texas, I would not bow down to the federal government at all, and I would tell them to go mind their own business and leave Texas alone. I would like to bring secession all the way down to the individual here in Texas, and I think telling the government to mind their own business and leave Texas alone would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it is incredible how different the laws of California versus Texas versus New York are, and the attempt to the attempt to work together. It's so much discord across a country of 320 million people. It's so hard for us to act as one, and there's no wonder why we're so polarized. Excuse me. So, and that was why the founding fathers had said, hey, we need to give the power to the states. And they understood that when the country was only, 30 million people. And here we are with 320 million people and a very overly top-heavy federal government. So any closing thoughts and just any other ideas that you might have that you feel really strongly about that you want people to know about?
Yeah, of course, I'm a huge advocate for more gun freedoms as well here in Texas, the right to defend yourself in general. Those are my three main issues: more gun freedoms, more cannabis freedoms, just ending the war on drugs in general, and ending property taxes here in Texas as soon as possible, and reducing all fees, license, and regulations and other taxes as soon as possible. So that's what I'm all about. I am an everyday person, just like you or anybody else. I'm an activist. I've been in the streets. I've fought for open carry. I've fought for more cannabis freedoms. I've constantly gone against big government. I'm not some person who's just constantly ran for office and told people one thing and done another. I'm an activist getting involved in the political world and trying to get some support, and our campaign is growing. We got our campaign store up, website. I'm traveling all over the place the next month. I'll be in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Collin County, Lubbock, and then I'm going to Little Rock, Arkansas for the Cannabis Expo, which involves Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. It's a 3-state cannabis expo. They've asked me to come speak, so I am running as a libertarian, but this is a very serious campaign. We've raised thousands of dollars. We have many different donors and help on the campaign. Our campaign team is pretty big, and so I've traveled all over Texas, and we're going to continue this. So this is a very serious campaign. The Democrats don't really have anybody here in Texas that's that serious. So it's looking to be a two-man show between me and Greg Abbott, and I would love to see the Libertarians break through here in Texas and start being respected and have the conversation of saying, oh, okay, well, they have a chance. You can't say that Libertarians aren't getting a chance to win. They can't say, well, you can't win anymore, because after this election, they're going to start saying Libertarians have chance.
Wow. Well, that was great closing thoughts there. But you know what? I wanted to ask you and follow up on the gun laws here in Texas. Now, Texas, especially compared to California, where I came from, has very, very loose gun laws, which I'm for. So I guess I would ask you, are there issues currently with the laws that Texas has on gun ownership that you have, and what's your vision for gun ownership in Texas?
Yeah, here in Texas, we recently just got open carry of a handgun, and that was all due because of activists like myself and many others who got into the streets and open carried and handed out information and got people down to the Capitol to make it happen. Of course, we didn't get exactly what we wanted, but it was a decent step in the right direction. Right now, to open carry a handgun, you have to get a license, ask your government for permission, pay a tax, and get your fingers printed. All those I myself refuse to do. I will not do that. I'll still open carry my gun. I am against a license of any sort to defend yourself, and I would like to see that go away. Perfect picture for me would be no license, no rules, no regulations on anything whatsoever. When somebody deems to defend themselves how they see fit, they shouldn't be bothered, whether it's a sword, a pocket knife, some mace, somebody walking down the road with a stick, maybe it's a AR-15, or maybe it's a pistol, whatever. Whatever, if they're not bothering anybody, just leave them alone. That's probably what they're carrying their peace for, so they will be left alone. So I don't want to see any regulation whatsoever against the right to defend yourself.
You know, when I'm walking around my local street fair and I see people open carrying their guns, and I'm left more comforted. I know that it would be very difficult for somebody to come into that area and start causing a major problem, because there's going to be probably 10 people that pull out their guns to put up some sort of resistance. And I'm just blown away why that sort of logic does not make sense to people who want to control gun ownership and maybe ultimately take the right to own a gun away from the American people. So yeah, those are just my thoughts on that there. Kory, again, if any final words here before we end this interview for Crush the Street, I want to let you know that I really appreciate you coming on the show today and taking the time to speak to us here and to broaden our minds and give us something to think about. If people want to learn more about you and if they can support you in any way, please do let us know where they can go and what they will find.
Yeah, my website is KoryWatkinsforTexas.com. That's Kory. So KoryWatkinsforTexas.com. You can catch all the information about my campaign there. You can donate or go to the campaign store and get some campaign T-shirts or each towel or whatever. And if you want to get me on Facebook, I have a campaign Facebook page, Kory Watkins for Texas. All the information and updates are on there. Of course, I'm on Twitter as well, Kory for Governor. And just contact me. I'd love to hear anybody if they had any questions or if they wanted to host an event in their area. So let's get involved. I need delegates here in the spring at the Libertarian Convention, so that's very important. If you want to get involved, that's another way to support me. So yeah, I appreciate your letting me come on for the interview, and any time you want to have me on, just let me know, and let's spread some love, freedom, and innovation here in Texas.
It's great. That's great.